Hi guys, it is 9:07 p.m. on Thursday. I think the 133rd day I'm doing this, I think. Here's your daily dose of hope. And so much I want to say, but I released a lot today. I'm thinking of it as I'm doing these root changes, I'm like hitting, it's like I'm digging, even though I'm not actively digging. That's what happens when we take a step, it's like I spring a leak or like I hit a pipe. So I ended up watching this show about dogs, rehabilitating dogs, and it was so validating for me on so many levels. First of all, I really relate to animals. I think they're like the purest form of love. And basically, you know how some people will sometimes, not necessarily intentionally, but basically kind of gaslight and be like, well, be like a dog. They don't worry about anything. They don't whatever. Well, that's not true. When dogs have had like severe trauma caused by humans, like abuse, they do remember. So what I was watching today was basically this dog that had this intense fear of leashes. And long story short, they were doing exposure therapy with him. And what really hit me was watching in real time, like with the camera and like in a very ethical way. The dog was facing his fear. He was shaking. He was struggling, like he was going through it. And after like 20 or so steps, he was done. And because the trainer like was trauma informed, basically was like that's it for today. That counts. And you saw the dog get home and like not collapse in like a negative way, but be exhausted from going through that. And they were like, let the dog relax, like give the dog love. And it was just like, yeah, like as we're facing these massive things, whether they seem massive to someone else is irrelevant. But if you're facing trauma and you are approaching it and you're working through it and it's grueling and it's exhausting, it's like honor that. So that's what I'm doing. Facing a whole bunch of fears. I'm facing another one tomorrow. I'm actually I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to attempt to get blood drawn. Last time I tried to just go in and get blood drawn like everybody else, my body had a traumatic reaction and I almost started seizing, so it's like, this is no joke. But I'm going to, not saying I'm going to do it because there's only so much I can control, but I'm going to set myself up for success. I've drank a ton of water today. I'm going to go to bed after this. I'm going to bring my earbuds and I'm going to listen to music or something during it. I'm going to lay down. This is by far the hardest thing for me, is to even ask for accommodations, basically, of any kind. But the facts are, despite my programming, I don't make stuff up. I don't exaggerate. It's just amazing to me how some people seem to be allowed to have boundaries and advocate, and other people, don't. But that's not true. But that's how people can act. So that being said, yeah, I released multiple times today. It was absolutely appropriate. I was by myself, right? But it was like, part of me is still struggles with that, just being honest. But it was really validating to watch that dog and to be like, wow, that dog has support, that dog is safe, that dog is loved, so it can approach these things. And I just attended a Zoom a bit ago about the crown chakra, and it was like, I don't regret doing that at all. It was awesome. And I had to release so much. I thought of it this way. I thought of it like, I'm releasing what isn't mine so I can keep filling up with what is me. And I am like a sparkly person and a happy person and, you know, um, peaceful, right? And so are you. So anything else isn't actually ours. So, yeah, I'm just facing more and more fears. Um, But every time it feels like I'm moving through it and like healing. And it's exhausting, right? But I don't regret doing it. I just have to keep reminding myself this is foreign to you. You have been programmed completely incorrectly, like the exact opposite. And you know, if we know the path we're on, we are sinking or we are, in a burning building type of thing, then we not only have the right, but we have the responsibility to try something different. And that's basically what I'm working on. And I'm really changing some root things, like I said, which is not only scary, but can be like another dog in the episode, is like terrified of socialization. And so they did it for like a minute, and then the dog went to like, he was done, and they're like, yeah, he's tapped out. And that's how it feels when we do this work. It's work. To me, it's the most noble and hardest work you can possibly do. But if you think about it, you're doing it not only for yourself, but so that you can be your best self to the world, which is a noble pursuit, right? So, yeah, maybe I should make a quote that says like, self-care is a noble pursuit, you know? That being said, today's quote is, fall 7 times, stand up 8. And obviously, my literal brain is like, I don't know, like way more than 7 times type of thing. Like, as long as every time we keep going as in we try to burrow through it, but we come back, right? So when I was like crying earlier, and then I was like, well, I have this thing I want to go to and I can't. And I was like, that's not actually true. So release some so that you can show up even more. It in a weird way, even though it's exhausting, but it's almost like a kind of rest. It's like a relief and a release that I don't regret at the end of the day. So that being said, remember you're allowed to be human. And, we all have the equal right to pursue what makes us individually feel happy and fulfilled and joyful, And I reminded myself of that. I said, if you want to, you could just numb yourself. You could. And you'd probably be a lot more acceptable to certain people. But you'd be betraying yourself again, right? And I work so hard on trying to figure out who I am and like the relationship with myself. But that's not being a very good friend, Kind of like, okay, I finally am starting to trust you. Oh, never mind. This person wants me to, do this. Then forget everything I said. Yeah, it's like betraying yourself. And I would never do that with a real or another person. So the best way I can describe it is that it's like this huge swelling, like almost, again, an ocean metaphor. It's like, you're going to go this direction. It's happening. Your soul's not going to keep getting squished down. And the facts are, if you had the support that you deserve to have, this would be a no-brainer. Therefore, you're not going to not do it just because you don't have the support that you should have, And that's a very painful and emotional, but ultimately a very empowering statement to say, well, what if I did have that support? What if I did think I was worthy? What would I do? Right? So, yeah, things are definitely percolating and not like I'm getting stuck. It's like every day I'm getting more and more, moving more and more forward of like realizing massive, massive things and taking action, and just reminding myself, like, if I'm doing like energy work and then emotion starts to come up, that's supposed to happen. I know I'm still I'm still working on rewiring that. But hey, I'm doing the work. So that being said, I hope this helps. I'm really, really drained now, but I don't regret it. Is the bottom line. And I still got to connect with people, which is what I want to do. And I'm still able to share something, which is what I want to do to potentially help people. So all in all, it was a great day, even though it looked quite grueling, and it was quite grueling. But it's like doing this foundational work, you know? So, love you guys. Remember that you are the sky. You were here yesterday. You're here today. You'll be here tomorrow. You deserve to be here, just like any other human being, right? You deserve to be here when you're tired, when you're, feel like you're struggling, when you feel like you made a mistake, right? You're worthy to be on this planet. You're worthy to be alive. And I know for some of us that almost seems like, no, that's not true. But that's why I'm saying it like explicitly but it is true. Even if you don't believe it, even if I don't believe it, it is true, right? We all deserve to be here. And we all deserve to go after what makes us actually happy and fulfilled and, full of joy. So, love you guys. Have a great night.